And if you're looking at buying an infrared sauna, you definitely want to stay around for the next few minutes. Hello, it's Alex here from alexfergus.com, and if you're looking at buying an infrared sauna, you definitely want to stay around for the next few minutes. I have been researching and even using infrared saunas for the last few years now, so much so that I now have two infrared saunas here. Let me spin you around and you can see the other one. Now, because I've been interested in infrared saunas for so many years now, I have done a lot of research and I have learned a lot of things. In fact, there's so much now that I wish I knew 4 or 5 years ago. It would have saved me a lot of money, probably done a world of good for my health, because I have been sitting in some potentially harmful saunas over the years. So what do you need to know? I mean, there's things like the technology used in the heater panels, the wood used in the sauna frame, the sauna structure, the glues used, the wiring, EMF issues, additional features like the overhead lighting, the control systems, EMF. There's so much to know. And if you go to any website that sells infrared saunas, you know, they'll claim that they've got the best technology, the best products, etc. That's what everyone does. That's marketing. But what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to run through the key things that you need to look for when you're researching infrared saunas, but then also buying an infrared sauna. Now, I do have an in-depth article over at alexfergus.com. If you type in Alex Fergus, infrared saunas buyer guide, you'll see that article. It goes much deeper than what I'm going to do in today's video. If I cover all of that content, this video will go for an hour. I don't want to do that. Instead, I'm going to rattle off the key things to look for when you are shopping for a sauna or comparing saunas. One thing I will mention, be sure to subscribe because I am reviewing all of these saunas I have. I'm also going to be doing some comparison testing using various meters and tools that I have. Right now I'm sitting in the Sunstream Evolve sauna. Behind me, the sauna, or in front of me, behind you, this sauna is the Clear Light sauna. So I'm going to do a head-to-head on that and explain which one's better. First things first, why an infrared sauna over a dry sauna or a steam sauna? The great thing about these infrared saunas is that they are so home user friendly. All right, you don't need special ventilation for excessive heat. You don't need to make sure that the whole unit is watertight. For instance, in a steam sauna, you have so much humidity and moisture. You need to make sure that that's not leaking out into the building. And with the dry sauna, they get so hot. You need to make sure you got special ventilation to deal with that heat. An infrared sauna, simple. You can put it in your room, put it in your garage. You can even get some that go outside. You plug it in, away you go. You don't have to worry about ventilation and heat issues. Secondly, they're super easy to use. You just get in, turn them on. Typically it takes anything from 10 to 20 minutes to get up to the desired temperature, but you can get in straight away and use it, and you're going to get the benefits right away. The other great thing about infrared saunas is you're using infrared rays, hence the name, far infrared rays in particular. These rays penetrate into the body and produce the greatest sweat effect. Pretty much you sweat more in an infrared sauna at a lower temperature. And also those far infrared rays are getting deeper into the body, creating a detoxification therapeutic effect as well. The other saunas, like a steam sauna and a dry sauna, heat the air, and it's the humidity or the temperature that create the sweat effect. That means is the surface temperature is really hot, but the internal body temperature isn't warming up as much. It takes longer. You can do an infrared sauna session much faster than you would in say a dry sauna. The far infrared rays, as they penetrate the skin, you're getting a sweat effect in a couple of minutes. Unlike a dry sauna, you may have to sit in there for 10-15 minutes before you start sweating. Plus, the other cool thing is the temperature in the infrared sauna is not as hot. You're only getting, say, 50-60 degrees Celsius compared to 100-110 degrees Celsius in a dry sauna. That means you can tolerate the environment much longer. Because sitting in one of those dry saunas, typically if you're new to sauna sessions, within a few minutes you're gasping for air. So you can sit in here, you can get the full sweat effect plus the benefits of the far infrared rays, and it's not super stressful. Another thing to look for when you're buying a sauna is the location of these heaters. Alright, so here behind me in this Sunstream sauna, you'll see that they're shoulder width and below. That's great. The infrared ray should be penetrating and targeting the torso, your core, your extremities, your limbs, not the head. Alright, firstly, the head's a small part of the body, and so if there's a big panel up here, you know, a foot above my shoulders, there's a lot of wasted wavelengths just going into the air. It's not hitting the head. So that's one reason why you don't want that. But secondly, it's not ideal to heat the head. In fact, if you're heating the head with a lot of infrared rays, your sauna sessions will be a lot more stressful for the body, and hence you won't do as long of a session, which is not ideal. So a well-designed sauna should have panels shoulder height and below for when you're sitting there. So here in the Sunstream Evolve sauna, they have what they've called their Evolve 360-degree heater arrangement. So on the right, I have panels, on the left panels, behind me panels, and then in front of me, which is quite rare in most saunas, you have another panel. All right, hence the 360 degrees. And then also below me, I have sauna heater panels on my feet, and then shining on the back of my legs. So that is pretty much the optimal setup for an infrared sauna. A lot of saunas will have side, behind, nothing in front, and maybe nothing on the floor as well. So you're really only getting the back half and sides of the body. And before we wrap up the heaters section on this guide, one other thing to look for is what is actually covering the heaters. Now, most infrared saunas will have a wooden panel, like I have here behind me. This means you can lean back and you can move your arms around, and you're less likely to touch the panel and potentially burn yourself. Though these aren't extremely hot like a halogen panel or even a ceramic panel is, but still, you know, you want to keep a few centimeters or an inch away from them. That's where these wooden panels come in handy. The problem with these wooden panels, is that they do block some of those far infrared rays. So you'll see some infrared saunas that have multiple slats going through here. It's actually blocking a lot of those beneficial rays. This sauna has done a good job where they have nice big open spaces here. Another thing to look for though is what covers these panels. Some saunas use like cloth or even metal mesh over the saunas. It's a protection mechanism, but also some companies use that to lower the EMF levels. If the sauna has been well designed, they won't need any metallic mesh or even cloth coverings, because the panel itself won't be emitting much EMF, if any EMF. Every time you put something over these panels, even if it is a mesh or a thin cloth, it is going to absorb some of those rays and block those rays from hitting your body, which is not what you want in a sauna. So this Sunstream, I can touch the panel directly. It's not on at the moment, by the way. I can touch that directly, which is great. Next up, we look at wavelength. So infrared saunas emit infrared light. Now, infrared light can be broken into three parts. You've got near infrared, or NIR, mid infrared, MIR, and far infrared, FIR. Traditionally, infrared saunas just use far infrared. That's where most of the heat is coming from. It's the easiest to produce, it's the most cost effective, and it works. It gives you a great sweat effect, alright? However, there has been research showing the beneficial effects of these other spectrums, in particular near infrared. Now, anyone that's followed my work on red light therapy, will know I'm a big fan of red light therapy, and how I typically use red light around the 600 nanometers and then near infrared light, which is invisible, around the 850 nanometers. That light is therapeutic, beneficial to the body, alright? The thing is though, with those red light panels, they use LEDs and they don't put out any or hardly any heat. And they're targeted wavelengths, so you're getting exactly 850 nanometer light. In the saunas, when a company adds a near infrared light and calls it a full spectrum sauna, you're not getting that precise targeted wavelength light. In fact, there is some research showing that near infrared light used in a full spectrum sauna can actually be damaging, and the reason why is that near infrared light combined with high heat, which is what you'd get in a sauna, can there are studies showing that it is linked to rapid aging and other skin issues. For those reasons, I personally think you should stay away from the full spectrum and near infrared saunas. Instead, just get a sauna that focuses purely on far infrared. That's where all the heat comes from. It's much easier to produce a sauna emitting that wavelength. It's cheaper to buy, and it works. It's safe, right? a lot of the sauna companies, because it is such a crowded market now, they're coming out with new, fads and accessories and features, which we'll get into later. But a lot of them also market these full spectrum saunas, and by full spectrum that means they emit far infrared, mid infrared, and near infrared. Now I've looked into this, and the thing is, a lot of those sauna companies that do this, the near infrared rays they're emitting is such a small amount. It's only a few percentage anyway, few percentage of the total output anyway. So it's more of like, it's a marketing claim, like, hey, yeah, we're doing near infrared, but you're not really getting much of it. The other thing is, some of the sauna companies that I've looked at, they might only have one panel that's emitting that near infrared rays. It's not like all the panels around you are emitting near infrared rays, it's only one. So for instance, the clear light sauna, which I have behind me, that's how they work. They've got one panel in the front. So you're not, it's over marketed, it's overhyped, which gets a lot of people, and I totally get that. But like I was saying, it's going to cost more. There are studies showing that it could be dangerous having that near infrared rays in a high heat environment. You have to use other panels. So for instance, the clear light uses a halogen panel, which is extremely hot. You don't want to even get close to it because it can burn you, which is a bit scary because saunas are quite a confined space. But it's the fact that you're not getting a therapeutic high level amount of that precise near infrared wavelength, because when you go back to those red light panels, you're getting exactly 850 or 810 nanometers, and the infrared saunas, you're getting a range of them, right? So it might work, it might not, but then throw in the potential side effects of near infrared in the sauna. For me, based on my research and my professional opinion, it's just simply focus on a sauna that does one thing, and that is emits far infrared. You're going to get a great sweat effect. You're going to know that you're in a safe environment, and you're getting a much more efficient heater as well. Now, for those of you that are saying, hey, but near infrared does have a lot of research, I know, I've written about the beneficial effects of red light and near infrared light over at my blog. But for me, what I do is I have a dedicated red light panel that I'll use for my near infrared and red light benefits, and then I have a dedicated sauna that I'll use for my far infrared sweat effect benefits. Alright, so I separate the two. It's up to you, but that's my recommendation, and that's why in this buyer's guide I say go with a sauna that focuses purely on far infrared and skip the full spectrum near infrared marketing hype. Save some money. Next up, we look at the materials used in the sauna. Now, a lot of people think, why does this really matter? Like, it's a sauna, who cares if there's glues or what wood it is? I just want to get whatever looks the best. But you have to be careful, because saunas emit a lot of heat, right? They're a hot environment, and so there's an issue called off-gassing, and a lot of the glues and the woods and the materials used in a sauna could potentially be made or contain harmful substances. So for instance, if there's been glues used in all these paneling, and then you heat the sauna up and you're sitting inside this confined space, those glues can off gas, it can enter the air, you're breathing them in, which is not ideal given that you're sitting in the sauna for a health hit, a detoxifying hit, right? Likewise with the timbers used. Now ideally a sauna will be 100% made 100% with natural timbers. This Sunstream sauna is 100% made of, I think this one is made of basswood, I don't know how to say that. Some saunas are made with like cedar or a natural wood, but then the internal framing or the roof or the flooring contains particle board or MDF. So those woods, those synthetic woods or those processed woods, they contain glues, they contain substances such as formaldehyde, and again, if you're sitting in a box that's getting really, really hot and you're going to stay in there for half an hour, you don't want formaldehyde being released into the air. Same with the glues, same with the wiring, the heaters, all these sort of things. You need to be very, very careful with what you are exposing yourself with. And now a lot of the cheaper saunas on the market, like straight from China, no brand name, super cheap to buy. You know, they are taking lots of shortcuts to get the price down. So they'll be using synthetic glues. They're sure they may use natural wood on the external, so it looks like it's all nice and healthy timber. But then behind the scenes, there's all sorts of you know, particle board going on. So look out for that. Another one is glues. Most saunas will use glue in some areas. That's totally normal. But make sure they're using a healthy, non-toxic glue. It can be difficult to get all this information. You may have to do a lot of digging. A lot of the times the website won't reveal all the facts. I know, for instance, the sauna that I have in the room is marketed as all natural woods, but there is some particle board up on the roof, and I think on the floor as well. You know, so do your research. If you're buying a sauna for health reasons, which 90% of the people are, make sure you get something that is made with non-toxic glues, is 100% natural wood, and you know, has had some care and thought going into the manufacture process. Personally, I like cedar, but cedar does have some natural allergens that can be released at heat. The safest timber is the basswood that I mentioned before. Hemlock is another good option. So shop around, do some research. Again, the blog over at alexfergus.com on my infrared buyer's guide, I go into all the different types of timbers and explain what's the best and which ones to look for. So be sure to check that out. I'll put a link below. You can go check that out. Next up, we look at EMF levels, so electromagnetic fields. Now this is a big topic. More and more people are waking up to the issues and the stress load that EMF radiation has on the body. It isn't something that I've personally written about over my blog, but there are some great articles out there. Now, because an infrared sauna is heated by these carbon panels or some form of heat source that takes electricity and then converts that into the far infrared rays, that means there's going to be some magnetic, even potentially electric field being emitted. It just happens. That's what electricity does. Most appliances emit fields of some sort. But because you're sitting inside this room, this little box covered in all these panels with wiring, an inch behind you, and you're sitting in close proximity to these panels, and you're doing it for 20, 30, 40 minutes, potentially a day, you want to make sure you're not sitting in a box that is effectively microwaving yourself, alright? Because like I said, you could get into one of these saunas in the name of health to do a health session, but you could actually be increasing the stress load on the body. So you have to be very, very careful. I've done a lot of research and testing. I use my electrosmog EMF meter. I'll put a link to this below for those of you that want to get it. This tests 3 types of fields: electric, magnetic, and microwave, which is like from Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So I've tested a bunch of panels, and again, check out my blog and follow me on YouTube for more of those videos. You'll find that most of the premium manufacturing sauna manufacturers, such as Clearlight, Sunlight, and Sunstream, they say they are low EMF, and they've gone above and beyond to shield their wires and add things to their panels or remove things from their panels to make sure that the EMF fields are very low, which is great. A lot of the companies that are super cheap, straight from China, no brand name, etc., they haven't done these things, and the numbers on those saunas are insane. Like, you wouldn't want to be sitting in it for 5 minutes, let alone 30 minutes a day. So straight away, go for more of a premium brand that is aware of the EMF issue. However, even some of these premium brands haven't done the best job with eliminating all EMF. So for instance, some companies will just put a metal mesh over the panels that stops the electric field, which is great, but there are issues with that. It also blocks some of the far infrared light, which is not ideal. Some companies, or most of these saunas now, have like Bluetooth for this stereo system. There's a lot of things you got to look at when it comes to EMF if you're very, very particular about it. If you're not super worried about it, just make sure you get a sauna that is low EMF and the manufacturer is aware of the issue and has done something to help lower the issues. But if you are worried about it, I recommend doing your own testing if you can, like go to the showroom and take your core net meter along, or check out YouTube for some of the independent tests. This is what I'll be doing, so check out my channel, because a lot of the times the claims made on the manufacturer's website don't match up with real life testing. Next up we look at size. Now obviously most people just want the biggest sauna they can afford, but there's a lot of things to take into consideration. Firstly is you've got to put that sauna somewhere. Now if you're putting it in a spare room, or in your living room or in a garage or something, you're going to be confined to the wall space and floor print. So that's the obvious thing, right? Second thing is, the bigger the sauna, typically the more expensive it is, so you've got to factor in budget. But the other things, and this is something that a lot of people don't think about, the bigger the sauna is, the more expensive it is to run. You got more heaters in there. It also takes more time to heat up because you've got a larger area to heat up. So, and the other thing is as well, some of these real big saunas, they draw a lot of watts. So you may find that if you get like a big 4, 5 man, 6 man corner sauna, for instance, you may find you actually have to get an electrician then to sort out your wiring. You can't just plug it in and switch it on. Typically 2 and 3 man saunas go straight in the wall, you don't need to worry about it. But some 4, 5 man, 6 man saunas, yeah, you're gonna need an electrician. So you need to factor in all these things. From my own experience, having used saunas for a couple of years now and having 2 in my home, I'd say 95, maybe even higher, 98% of the time, I'm the only one using the sauna. It's very rare that my wife or my friends or buddies are all doing the sauna at the same time. Usually it's just me, alright? There is the odd time when someone else is there, and it is nice having more space. But because it's typically just me, and because I like turning it on and just being able to get in pretty much straight away rather than having to wait half an hour, I've found the smaller saunas are actually better, alright? Plus they're cheaper to run and they take up less space. So you need to think about who's going to be using the sauna, how often it will be used, do you have the space, the budget, etc. If you really want the biggest one you can get but still get a quality one and it's out of your budget, then you might have to look at credit and financing. But for me, I have found, I've got a 3-man sauna and a 2-man sauna. I find I actually use the 2-man sauna more than the 3-man now. And if I were to start out and buy a new sauna, I'd be happy getting the 2-man. You know what, I may even consider having a 1-man sauna, just because, like I said, most of the time it's just me. And if my wife does want to have a sauna session, typically I'll have it, I'll do my session, I get out, and then she jumps in. Next up we look at price and warranty. So like I said earlier in this video, saunas, you're spending a couple $1,000s, maybe even more. I think you can spend up to $10,000 on some saunas. So it is a big investment, right? And like most things in life, you get what you pay for. You can take shortcuts and go straight to the manufacturer in China and get something shipped in, and yeah, sure, you're gonna sweat in it, but who knows what's gonna happen in a year or two. Maybe the wiring fries out, maybe one of the panels isn't working, maybe the light flickers, maybe you're off-gassing a ton of chemicals and that, and you're getting headaches every time you use it. Or worse, something happens and it's out of warranty and you can't get a replacement part or send it back. Go with more of a premium brand, you're getting a much quality build, all the parts are well designed, reliable, no toxic gases and materials, and if there is an issue, there's a local dealer who can ship you a new one or come out and test it or whatever it may be. I found that the more premium brands typically have like 10, 20, even lifetime warranties on their saunas, which is amazing, whereas a lot of the cheaper saunas, a couple years if that. So don't get too caught up on saving money. Find the best sauna you can, or maybe 2 or 3 saunas that you can, and then see what you can afford based on their product range. Maybe do some shopping around, compare options, see what the best price is. I know if you mention my name, Alex Fergus, with a lot of these sauna companies, they'll do you a special deal. You might get freebies or a lower price, so you can try that. But yeah, I would recommend finding a quality sauna that has good warranty and good materials, and then seeing what you can afford based on their product range. So that's it. I hope I've helped you make more of an informed decision when it comes to buying an infrared sauna. Again, head over to alexfergus.com and check out my written blog on this topic, because I go into much more detail and provide more links and resources. I'll put links to that below, or just ask me a question, and I'll do my best to help out. But pretty much, when it comes to buying a sauna, get something well built, using good quality materials, from people who know what they're doing. You know, they're passionate about saunas, not just out to make a buck, and they've found a supplier in China and you know, put a big markup on it. Do your research, check out YouTube, there's some great reviews out there, check out some of my reviews, but yeah, I wouldn't use price as your top priority. I mean, I know everyone has a budget, so at some point price comes into it, but try find a quality sauna brand and then see what you can afford on their product range, rather than saying, I can spend X amount of dollars, what's the biggest sauna I can get? That's what I recommend. What sauna am I using? It's the year 2020, and I am using my Sunstream Evolve 20 sauna. I do have the clear light, I can't remember the model name of that, 3-man behind me. I'm now using this one because of the better EMF, because it's pure far infrared, it has better materials, there's no particle board or anything in this, plus it's got the backrest and the stool and everything. So that's what I recommend. I am affiliated with Sunstream. I also am affiliated with Clearlight and Sunlighting. So whichever, if you go with any of those companies, you know, mention my name, and you'll get a good deal, you'll get a discount or some freebies. But yeah, right now, if my mum came to me and said, hey, I want to buy a sauna, which one should I buy? I'd recommend one of the Sunstream Evolve saunas. And if you want to know more about that sauna, I'm going to do a review at alexfergus.com, and then also here on my YouTube channel. So check out that review, so you can do more research and make the best decision for your needs. I hope that helped. If it didn't, let me know. If it did, give me a thumbs up. And yeah, ask any questions, right? Because I know there's a lot to take in with infrared saunas. Like I said, I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I wish I knew everything I knew now, like back then. It would have saved me a lot of money, and probably did my health a world of good as well, because I have used some terrible saunas over the years. So ask me any questions, subscribe, thumbs up, check out the full write-up over at alexfergus.com, and check out those reviews of mine as well.